Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the May 4th Town Plan and Zoning Commission meeting. Chairman Parenti cannot be with us this evening, so I will preside over our meeting.
Yay.
And I'll ask our fellow commission members to introduce themselves, please.
Hi, Paul Kaplan.
Tarenti. Kevin Cornell.
And our staff, Jack and Tammy.
Jack Emergent, Zoning Enforcement Officer.
Tammy Trantalis, Administrative Assistant.
Thank you. The first item on our agenda is the review of the minutes from our April 20th, 2021 meeting. So I'm sure we've all had an opportunity to read them. Do any of the members have any comments?
I have a couple of comments, Judy.
Okay, fire away.
On page 5, Tammy, third to last paragraph. Second line, the word "that" is used consecutively.
Word what?
Third to last paragraph, second line,
Mm-hmm.
the word "that" is used twice.
Oh, I see it. Stuttered. Okay. Didn't catch it. Thank you.
And then on page 6, second paragraph, fourth and fifth lines, 1,800 and 3,600 should probably be square feet.
Okay. No, you're right. You're right. Okay.
That's all I have.
All right.
Anything from Paul or Kevin?
No, ma'am.
No.
Okay, then can I have a motion to accept the minutes as amended?
So moved.
Mr. Kaplan, in a second, please.
Second.
Okay, Tom, thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. The minutes are accepted as amended. Second item on our agenda, old business. Do we have old business to come before the commission? Okay, any new business?
I would like to know, have we heard anything about going back to, as lovely as Zoom is, before all our computers die, when we're going to get back together again in the town hall?
He likes me. He really likes me.
Yeah, I know the finance department has had 1 or 2 meetings there, but for us, I don't think we are quite there. I know no other commissions are meeting in person. And for us, it's just so on the fence of we could have nobody show up for a meeting, and then we also could have 50 people show up for a meeting. So I'm really trying to avoid going back and forth from in-person to Zoom, because I feel like then it could just get confusing and, cause more problems than it's really solving. But hopefully soon we will be back.
So it's not just our consideration, it's for the public as well. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, exactly. For the room that we have in the basement of Town Hall, it's just not really compatible to, if we do have a hot button issue on the agenda that night, it would just cause more problems than really solving. So.
In the board of finance, they don't get residents attending?
I don't think many. I only know of one meeting that they held in person. I can't say they're doing that permanently, moving forward now, but they were just one example that I've heard that they have had an in-person meeting. But nobody else, to my knowledge, has been able to be in person yet.
Okay. So I guess we have to stay tuned, Kev.
Mm.
Anything else for new business? All right, then we'll move on to agenda item number 4, report of the zoning enforcement officer. What do you have for us, Jack?
Nothing really this week. Couple blight notices going out. Like I said last week, I think we are going to have a couple oversized accessory structures come in front of us in the next coming weeks. But other than that, pretty standard.
Jack, if I could, there's I guess you'd call it the oversized structure that we approved, but it seems to have gotten into a life of its own. On Derby, either on Derby Milford or on the corner of Derby Milford End, Wheeler's Farms, we approved a larger than the house accessory, I want to say a garage.
Mhm.
Which-
Oh, I think it's a barn, yes.
Has that been done in accordance with the plans and specs that were submitted? Because it seems to have taken on a life of its own.
I could definitely take a look at the approved plan and take a ride out there. I know that myself and the building department have been out there in the past, but
Okay.
I can't say in recent months I've been there. So I'd be happy to take a look into that and take a ride by.
I assume that when he applies for permits for either the subs or whatever construction is going on, it's in accordance with the plans
Mhm.
that we approved, and the building was outsized, let's just say, and I remember approving it, but wow, if you could take a look, that would be great.
For sure. I'll get on that this week.
And the building inspector, doesn't he do site inspections and make sure that it's being built to plan
That's correct.
throughout the process? Yeah.
Mhm.
That's my understanding as well. All right, thank you.
Yep. Other than that, I'm pretty much all set, unless anybody else has questions.
No.
Then we'll move on. We have 3 public hearings this evening. 2 are new, and 1 is a continuance from our April 20th meeting. So, Paul, if you have the legal notices for the
Yeah, I
2
do.
new public hearings, we'll ask for you to read them now. Thanks.
To appear one time on Wednesday, April 21st, 2021, and one time on Wednesday, April 28th, 2021, the Orange TPZC, notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that on Tuesday, May 4th, 2021 at 7 p.m., the TPZC will hold an online Zoom meeting to conduct a public hearing on the following: special permit application for the conversion of a single-family dwelling to accommodate an elderly apartment, submitted by Brian and Amanda Cleveland for the property known as 695 Wheelers Farms Road. It's to construct an elderly apartment. Petition to amend the Orange zoning regulations, Article 3, Section 383-143.4, submitted by Luis Rodriguez of 510 Boston Post Road, to amend the Orange zoning regulations to allow a cigar lounge/store to obtain a special permit for outdoor seating. Copy of this notice has been filed with the Orange Town Clerk. Additional information is on file in the Orange Zoning Department, dated in Orange, Connecticut, this 20th day of April, 2021.
Thank you, Paul. Is the applicant here for the conversion of a single-family dwelling to accommodate an elderly apartment for 695 Wheelers Farms Road?
I am.
Excuse me, Vice Chairman Smith. I have to recuse myself from this application.
Yikes.
Okay, and then there were 3. We can still act on this application. We have a majority.
Does the applicant still want to go forward with 3 members?
Yes.
Okay, so could you give us a brief presentation? We have your plans, we have your application. Just tell us a little bit about the project. And I mean, it is difficult to go through blueprints via Zoom, but we'll try to do the best we can.
If needed, I can do a screen share, but since you have the copies of the plans, maybe I'll just go through them verbally unless you want me to screen share anything. My name is Brian Cleveland. I'm the property owner at 695 Wheelers Farm Road in Orange. I have with me Amanda Cleveland, and sitting in the background are my parents, Ken and Kathy Cleveland.
Right there.
I want to first thank you for giving us the opportunity to make the presentation to the commission tonight. The proposed plan is to include in the renovations that we're proposing for the house, the inclusion of an elderly apartment for my parents as an integral part of the overall design of the house. As is shown on the site plan, there are certain elements to it that we have included as saying future expansion, such as the pool and some of the patio areas in the back. We don't know when we're going to have the opportunity to do that, but we were putting them in places where we wanted them to be so that we can plan around all the other additions and renovations that we're planning for the property, and you can just see what our intentions are for the overall project scope. Within the middle of the footprint of the proposed building, you can see the footprint of the existing building, which consists of a garage on the left-hand side, a breezeway in between, and then the ranch-style house to the right where it says existing residence 695. The left-hand portion of the property is sloping down about 1.5 stories. So on that left-hand side that you can probably see on the first sheet of the enlarged floor plans will be the garage because it will be at the basement elevation. That then will continue into a stair foyer, again at the basement elevation, and then through to the rest of the basement of the primary residence. On the floor above that, you will see on the left-hand side of the plan over the top of the proposed garage, the in-law apartment, which consists of 895 square feet. I know the regulation says 900, and because this is a new construction, we're proposing to come close to that maximum area. The in-law apartment consists of 1 bedroom, a kind of office space off of the 1-bedroom area, a bathroom, closet, kitchen, and living room space, as well as a stair that will let them down into the single car portion of the garage that's contiguous with the rest of the garage. From there also is an elevator that we're proposing in a common corridor that then connects directly into the rest of the primary residence. Above that, on the second floor, would be some bedrooms that are, again, a continuation of the primary residence over the top of the proposed in-law apartment. So the design of this was integral. The design of the elderly apartment is integral into the overall design of the building. And I know that that is certainly something that is encouraged, and making sure that it doesn't look like it's just an accessory apartment tacked onto the side of the building. With that, I can answer any questions if you have any.
We have sign-offs on the, from sanitarian and other departments?
That is correct.
And where is the exterior entrance to the in-law apartment?
If you take a look at the second floor, the first floor's plan, which is a second enlarged plan, in between the primary residence and the stair, there's a front door entrance just to the left of our primary residence entrance where the stair is.
Do you want to screen share that?
Probably be helpful.
All right,
The
certainly
second
can.
floor doesn't face the street, correct?
The short end of it is facing the street. That's correct.
Okay.
So, I'll go here. So again, this is the first floor plan, which is over the top of the garage is the in-law apartment. So there's a series of stairs that will come up to the first floor to this overhang foyer space. And the primary entrance into the elderly apartment is here directly adjacent to the primary entrance to the residence.
Okay, and the street would be opposite the entrance, right along there, correct? So really, because I don't think, we can't have 2 entrances facing the street, and I don't believe with your drawing that that is what's happening.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, Brian is your first name?
Yes.
So the elevator will take from the first floor to the second floor?
It will go all the way through the 3 stories of the building. So it's not only just for the elderly apartment, it's also if we continue to reside in the primary residence, having access all the way through the 3 floors of the building.
And
so this is a common elevator for both of our use.
Got it. And does it go to the, is the garage, yeah, I mean, the in-law is above the garage, correct?
Correct.
And so does the elevator go all the way down to the garage?
Yes, it does.
That makes more sense. Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other questions?
question of just language. We allow as a special use the conversion of a single-family dwelling to accommodate elderly housing, and the plans in our conversation is talking about an in-law apartment. Can those be used interchangeably, or should we be more precise in our approval of these documents?
I think it should reflect senior. What's the word in the zoning? Senior in-law?
No, actually, it says elderly housing, which I'm not a fan of the language, but that's what's in it.
And the age is 55, which we all know is far from elderly.
I believe that is correct, Kevin.
Except Jack. It could be a distinction without a difference, but if we're approving, I don't know that in-law apartment has any other, it's not a defined term, so we don't certainly want it to be.
No, I think Kev, we should absolutely add. I don't know if you want to take away the in-law, but you should absolutely add. We'd be adding the statutory language or the regulation language of elderly apartment or elderly housing.
Right.
Yeah, it can just be a condition of approval that the plans get revised to be consistent with the zoning language.
Right, and they have to check in. Jack? What happens every year? Do they check in or something like that? Or
they have to renew the certification with the CPO that the criteria of our regulation are being met.
Good.
And Jack, in reviewing the application, it meets the regs. At least one of the one dwelling unit shall be occupied by a person 55 or older. That's
as a shared wall or ceiling.
And in my opinion, the front door does not face the street. So there is still one primary door to the street.
And I believe it also meets the square footage requirements of not exceeding, I believe it's 900.
900 and they're 895, correct. So that's in compliance. Because it's a special use permit, we have to make certain findings. It has to meet standards, the size and intensity of the proposed use and the size of the lot in which it will be located. This is a very large lot. Let's see what else might be applicable.
Consistent with the plan of development providing, a diversity of housing for elderly residents.
Yes, absolutely meets that criteria. Promotes housing. Yep, diversity.
No impact on traffic.
Pardon?
No impact on adjoining property.
Right. Fire and police protection needs are fine. Will not have a negative effect on property values and the appearance of the neighborhood. We have to take into account the topography of the lot, the character. I think everything will be harmonious, with the neighborhood.
Right. But if it's a public hearing, shouldn't we, before we went to our findings, should we see if anyone has any input?
Yes, because we have not closed the public hearing yet. So do we have any input from the public on this application?
Brian, have you heard anything from your neighbors?
Yes, I see them every day out at the bus stop. So I have made them aware of our plans. And so the one neighbor that I have not been able to talk to, and to be quite honest, in the 5 years that I've been living here, we've never crossed paths, is our neighbor directly to the right at 693. But I have been in conversations with everybody else around us, including the people up 100 Acre Road.
We don't have any other comment or anyone from the public that wishes to speak to this application. I will ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
This is on you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, would the commission want to deliberate on this application? Take an action?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to move that we approve the special permit application for the conversion of a single-family dwelling unit to accommodate an elderly apartment for the property known as 695 Wheelers Farms Road. All right, the reasoning behind my motion is that I think it's conformance with the plan of conservation and development in several ways. The lot is certainly large enough. It does promote diversity of housing, and that it allows the elderly to stay in their homes for longer periods of times. No offense, Mr. and Mrs. Cleveland. It also is doesn't have any negative impacts with either the fire, the police, nor traffic. For all those reasons, I would favor my motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Who seconded, please?
Mr.
Kevin
Cornish.
Cornell.
Thank you very much.
The only one left.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, that's true. I'm sorry. We only had 3 this time.
They're dropping like flies, Bonnie.
Yes, they are. I'll catch them.
All right, so we have a unanimous vote for the special permit application for the conversion of a single-family dwelling to accommodate an elderly apartment for property known as 695 Wheelers Farms Road.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good night.
Good luck, guys.
Good night.
The next item on our agenda is a petition to amend the Orange zoning regulations, Article 383-143-4, submitted by Luis Rodriguez of 510 Boston Post Road. The petition is to amend the Orange zoning regs to allow cigar lounges, stores to obtain a special permit for outdoor seating. Mr. Rodriguez, why don't you read the petition with us?
Ooh, I'm sorry you broke up a little bit there, Judy.
Why don't you talk a little bit about what you're proposing, your amendment to our outdoor seating?
Sure. First, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to meet with you tonight to discuss our proposal. I, along with my partner, we operate a cigar lounge store at 510 Boston Post Road. And the way our building is configured, we have an area in the back of the building which can be fitted to become a patio area. Unfortunately, we don't fall under the criteria, under the regs as someone who can apply. But because we are a business, a social atmosphere that also has some assembly that we congregate, and many of our members would enjoy, and our customers would enjoy the opportunity to sit outside and enjoy a cigar. By law, we're not capable of serving any beverages or any food, but many of our members like to bring a lunch with them, a snack, a drink, and they would enjoy to sit outside as well to enjoy these drinks during the summer months. Along with the fact that we all know last year was a brutal year for any type of hospitality or service business. We still have a bit of stigma with some of our customers not wanting to be inside to sit down and enjoy a cigar. Therefore, we decided to put forth this proposal to see if we could get an amendment to allow us to have an outdoor seating area.
Okay, and you've supplied the text. The commission members all have a copy.
We did. We supplied text. If you notice, we supplied the original and then we supplied a copy that was amended. We really didn't strike out anything that was that we believe would affect our ability to achieve this amendment. But we did put in wording that would protect other establishments and would allow us to be able to do this freely without impeding on anybody else's business. Specifically with things in nature like of our distance to schools or our distance to established outdoor seating.
And can you just sort of extrapolate on why you did that?
Well, we felt that based on what we had seen in other regulations for other states, specifically other states, because in Connecticut, no cigar lounges can have patios. These were stipulations that they put in that appealed to the committees to allow them to establish their outdoor seating. Distance is a big thing, especially when you're talking about combustibles like tobacco. A restaurant right next door would not appreciate us to have a patio right next door to their outdoor seating area. So therefore, we just took wording from existing regulations from other states and applied it to what we thought would be a fair, I guess, a fair application.
Okay, no, it's helpful to understand the genesis of that. And it,
Sure.
To the best of your knowledge, Mr. Rodriguez, are there any other restaurants proximate to 510 Boston Post Road?
There are restaurants approximate, but there are no restaurants that have outdoor seating areas within hundreds, possibly thousands of feet. The closest restaurant that would potentially have one would be Applebee's. It's in 2 shopping centers over, but they have no outdoor seating, and they're well over 800 feet away from us. So
if they wanted to do their outdoor dining, you and they would be in compliance because
100%.
Mr. Rodriguez, I apologize for not having had an opportunity to get by the building, but I'm not following where this outdoor seating area would be. As I recall, there's just a loading dock at the rear of the building, isn't there?
Uh-oh.
You guys hear me?
I hear you. Yeah.
I hear you. I think
we lost
Mr. Rodriguez
Luis.
is muted.
Yeah, well, I think he's
frozen.
I see him. He's frozen. Kevin, too, not moving so fast.
No, Kevin.
Oh, there he is.
Tom, we don't have a site plan. This is a text amendment application. You can certainly ask about the site.
I don't have any particular problem with the application. I just don't follow where this outdoor patio would be.
It appears as though we lost him. I guess Chris, you want to be on the lookout in case he is trying to rejoin back in?
I'll keep an eye out for him. Thanks.
Thank you.
One of the other things that, I'm sorry. Did I step
Well,
on
no, I'm
anybody's
just trying to, because we don't have a site plan, I also, like Tom, was trying to figure out where they are, where he is. Is it next to Ashley Home Furniture?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm familiar with the building, but all I had an opportunity to do was Google it, and it looks like the rear of the building has nothing but a loading dock. I think the company name is A1. So I just don't follow where he's putting it.
Yeah.
there's something else I want to point out too, that, I think it's well thought out in some ways that he's got space between him and restaurants, but his, meaning a cigar lounge, it once put up, then prohibits the adjacent abutters from having outdoor seating, lest they be in violation, or possibly, would that create a violation for the cigar place if a restaurant moves in next door or 2 doors down? within the 500 feet.
Right, that's sort of what I was wondering also.
Well, he mentioned that Applebee's was 800 feet away, but
I'm not talking about the current ones, Tom. I'm
Right,
talking about,
one
new ones that move
down
in.
the road.
Yeah.
I will say there's very limited opportunity for even a new restaurant or existing to get outdoor seating in this general area, but yeah, it is something that could be an issue later on if that were to change.
right, but my point, Jack, was Mr. Rodriguez mentioned that Applebee's was 800 feet away, but I think that building is well within 500 feet of where his lounge is.
Let's see.
That looks like it's, to me, my recollection anyway, is it's less than 100 yards.
Let's see if I can find out. Well, let's see if I can find out while we wait.
I mean, while we contemplate that, what do we think of the text regarding the distance from a public or private school?
Well, I think that part is well thought out. I mean, in Connecticut, you can probably, have a CBD shop smoker closer than that. But so I think he's trying to be, I think the text is trying to accommodate people without imposing, provide an amenity without imposing on neighbors.
No, I think the thought process is good. The problem is
Yeah.
the application.
Right.
Well, and whether that precludes somebody else.
Well, the
In
way
the
it's
future.
worded, I think it would preclude, it would boomerang back. I don't think the restaurant would have a problem in getting approval. The way this words is that the cigar store shouldn't be within 500 feet of an established restaurant. Well, of a coffee house or any other outdoor seating. Question as to whether or not he could be in violation for a later restaurant that goes out, in there.
Yeah, but then they'd be kind of coming to the problem, so to speak.
Yeah, they take it subject to that set of facts. I'm just talking about the language.
There you are. I apologize for that. I have no idea what's going on with my computer.
That's okay. Read the merits.
And I'm sorry, can you repeat your question? Because you kind of cut out.
You think you can remember that far back?
Yeah, I don't know.
The basic question is, within the building of 510 Boston Post Road, where exactly is, although this will be a subject of a future application, where is the cigar lounge located, and where are you looking to put the seating area? Is it in the back area, or?
I understand. So the building is essentially T-shaped. So if you're considering the back of the building being the long leg of the T, not the cross, we are at the back of the building at the leg of the T. So the loading dock is at the very bottom, which is the very back of the building. And that's where we would place the outdoor seating, which is in the back of the building. It's not relatively close to any of the other entrances or to any other building in our immediate area.
So it would be adjacent to the loading dock at the rear of the building?
Correct. Correct.
Interesting. Let's think about this language here.
We could say, Kevin, something to the effect of accepting that from restaurants that come in, or outdoor seating areas that come in after the application date or after the approval date, something like that.
Well, I think that if it reads at the end, within 500 feet from an established restaurant, coffee house, and or other food service business with existing outdoor dining or seating.
Right, but what happens
Because-
to the restaurant that comes in a year later and sets up within 500 feet?
So
With an outdoor-
then he already has his lounge set up.
Oh, this
and
is
the
for an
person who
established
walks
restaurant.
out to- Sorry?
No, that's okay. Keep going.
Then the person who would be coming in after this was established would not be, supersede him, and they could make their own decision as to whether they wanted to be that close to a cigar lounge.
Right. It makes sense. I was just looking at the language. You're interpreting the word established to be prior to his getting approval, meaning the a cigar lounge.
The adoption of the regs. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Or established, or it could be existing at the time of the, instead of established, could be,
I would clear that up like that. Yep.
yeah, existing at the time of the public, of the revision or something like that.
My brothers and sisters have a way of torturing the interpretation if possible, so I would put that language in.
Yeah.
And any thoughts on subsection C, where we're going to extend the outdoor dining period through the end of November? So about 2 more weeks from what our original regs had. And that would be for the restaurants, and if we adopt this, the cigar lounge.
I can tell you that we've been frequenting Fairfield. They have a nice strip of a post road that has many outdoor seating restaurants, and they seem to be open. I don't know if it was all winter, but it certainly was past November 15th.
Okay.
And with a fine attendance, actually.
Yeah, I think that an outdoor dining, choice is just that. It's a choice for people to make, and so I don't know why we restricted it till the 15th before. Or started in April. So I have no problem with that.
Okay.
Now, if we are going to be, so I guess if we've heard from the applicant, is there anyone from the public who'd like to opine?
Certainly not. And any application under the outdoor dining regs would be by special permit. So we have more discretion to maybe Tom's point and Kevin's point.
Yeah. But if we're going to make a text change, we have to find a conformance with the plan of conservation and development.
Yep. So I grabbed my plan and started to read in the economic development section of the plan to see what our goals were. Give me 1 second.
We'll take just this opportunity to make sure that everybody did see subsection L as well, going from 10% to 15% above the number of seats approved. I just want to make sure everybody had a chance to see that and touch on it if they feel necessary.
That's a good point, Jack. So you have to think of the impact, that will yield for, restaurants down the road.
Missing something. I think we need to be careful about that 500-foot language as well, because unless my bearings are way off, Applebee's is well within 500 feet of where the lounge would be. Isn't it, Mr. Rodriguez?
I don't believe so. I believe it exceeded 500 square feet according to what we researched through Google Earth. But I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we covered all the major restaurants in that area, which I think Applebee's is the only real major restaurant that has a potential for outdoor seating. Everything else, just unless they got some sort of a some sort of an amendment or a variance to eat up parking spaces in an existing parking lot. I don't think we have a sandwich shop that's across the street, but they have no area for seating. We have a noodle restaurant that has no area for seating, front or back. So I don't think there was anything within 500 feet of our existing location.
Yeah, Mr. Rodriguez, just to clarify, so that when you were frozen in a way,
Yes.
we had a discussion about the application of your 500-foot rule. If somebody moves in within that 500 feet and then establishes an eating, outdoor eating establishment. And so I think we're, if the board is inclined to do so, we were talking about clarifying to say that it would be within 500 feet of a restaurant that had outdoor seating that was established at the time of the applicant's approval, meaning that once somebody else moved in, it wouldn't make a difference.
Correct. It would only make a difference on someone who was
already there, which is why it's critical from what Tom is saying that you don't shoot yourself in the foot if we adopt this kind of a regulation.
You become non-compliant.
Yeah.
Or another restaurant can't do the outdoor dining.
Sure.
The proximity to you.
I understand.
And
I'm going to get there.
And I would have to agree with Tom that it's about 300 feet to Applebee's parking lot. Unless, like judging from the number of, 9-foot parking spaces between you and he. So you might, but they don't have outdoor dining now.
They do not have outdoor dining now.
So I don't seem too unyielding. I would be fine reducing the 500 feet if we needed to. And personally, if you're 100 yards away from a person smoking a cigar, you'd have to have a pretty strong sensitivity for it to bother you.
And again, we took wording from existing regulations, and this is what's worked in Rhode Island as well as New Hampshire. But if it doesn't seem appropriate for Connecticut or for this application, then by all means, we'd be willing to change the distance in feet.
Well, as Mr. Kaplan mentioned, as long as you're not shooting yourself in the foot with 500 feet, then I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
As it stands for this particular application, in the town of Orange, we would not be shooting ourselves in the foot because there are no existing outdoor dining or outdoor seating areas within 500 feet of us.
Okay.
Yeah. But I do think we need to massage the language a little bit. And is there a particular reason that you went to 15% from 10% of seated patrons? Because that has a domino effect elsewhere in our regulations.
Understood. When we changed the dialogue in consulting with existing businesses that have that have outdoor seating, they all express concern with, because it's very vague in its explanation as to occupancy, they found that they've had to exceed that with standees or in particular events such as like a Super Bowl party or an outdoor type event for the business. And they all said with their capacity, most of them were just adding between 4 and 6 people to their capacities at 15%. So in other words, versus 4 at the 10, they were adding 6. So we proposed the 15 because at the scale of the outdoor seating that we were going to do, we would only be approximately adding 4 to 6 people additional at 15%.
Right. So the way this usually works is outdoor dining goes to a use that has a defined number of seats. So when Applebee's comes in and gives us a plan, they'll have 250 seats or some number, right?
Correct.
And so it's not based on their occupancy, it's based on their seating count. So they get, under these regs, 25. Or we just had, why can't I think of the restaurant?
Eli's, right?
Right. So does your use, or does your cigar lounge, when you apply for a permit, does it have a defined number of seats?
The defined number hasn't been established because we haven't had engineered plans created yet. And I would assume they would, based on the square footage and the capacity of the space, establish the occupancy.
Okay, so let me see if I understand. What you're saying is that as a cigar lounge, when you established your primary use, you didn't have a specific number of seats approved for your patrons who smoke cigars inside your place?
We didn't have a specific number of seats. We had an occupancy established per square footage, and then we had to address the seating with the fire marshal specifically, so that we could allow for ingress, egress, and our fire safety plan. Although we have an occupancy of 131 in our space, we only have approximately 40 seats in our space. So it's not quite like a restaurant.
All right. So I'm just trying to understand how you came to 15. So because what you're really looking for is the ability to have 6 people around a couple of tables in a small area behind the building enjoy a cigar, you want to change the 10%, which would only give you 4 people, to 15%, which would give you 6. Is that fair to say?
Essentially, yes. Essentially, yes.
Okay. So what we need to try and do is figure out how to get you what you're looking for, which isn't a big ask, without having a cascading effect through all of the other outdoor dining in the town.
So maybe we make a difference between the cigar lounges can do 15 and the restaurants stay at 10. Because 10 has worked for the restaurants as we've applied it.
Right, because otherwise they start impacting their parking too much.
Right.
And that's not going to be a problem here.
Right.
All right, so intended for seated participants. Yeah, so we would have to think about how to do that. I think in general people have are not reacting badly to your ask, Mr. Rodriguez, but I think I might just need until the next meeting to figure out maybe some language to propose to you and how to give you the seating area that you're looking for. I don't know if I'm quite comfortable doing it on the fly. Is anybody else got a?
We certainly could wait till our next meeting. And the other issue we have to be mindful of is we've noticed, that the regulation, and we can't deviate too far from what we're going to potentially adopt. So I think we can become more restrictive than what we've noticed. But I would be most comfortable running it by a town attorney.
There's no reason to do it tonight if we are going to make some relatively minor but important changes. So I agree, we should probably put it off, get some proposed language out there.
Hey, is that going to cause an undue hardship, Mr. Rodriguez, the 2 weeks to get some feedback so we can do this right?
No,
Right.
not at all. I'd rather just get it done right on this, on the next meeting than try to change too many things now or let something go that could potentially still be beneficial to us in the future if the town attorney can review this and see if there's a way to work the 15% in for us.
Right. And
Right.
my thought is we could treat the cigar lounges with a different percentage than the restaurants because it's a different product.
Well, and actually, it might be as simple as only applying the percentage, the total number of patrons in outdoor seating areas for restaurants shall not exceed 10%. And have that whole section just be silent with respect to the cigar lounge and handle it as the special use permit. But that's what town attorneys do. So
Yeah, they'll give us the best route to where we want to go.
all right.
All right, so if everybody's comfortable, we'll continue this public hearing until our next meeting, which is May 18th. And thank you for your patience, Mr. Rodriguez. We just want to get it right.
No, I'm fine with it. Thank you so much for the consideration and thank you for bearing with me with my technical difficulties.
Certainly.
Take care.
All right, the next item on our agenda is the special use and site application in conjunction with architectural standard supplement and lighting supplement for property known as 35 Old Tavern Road and 308 Racebrook Road located in the LSC zoning district. Is Ms. Shansky with us?
I'm sure she is.
I see her name.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the Commission, Attorney Marjorie Shansky for the applicant. I provided earlier today an email to the zoning enforcement officer requesting that this matter be continued to your next meeting. I also provided the elevations of the existing buildings that were not shown in the original package and architectural supplements for those as well. And it's our understanding that you may have some questions for us, which I'd be happy to carry back to the team so that we have answers for you at the next meeting.
Okay, I just have one request. I think this would be somewhat easy for the team to accomplish. Would it be possible to get a drawing of the site showing compliance to our parking regs? On page 11, table 5 of your traffic study, it shows the calculation by use, by square footage, use, parking requirement. I think it totaled to 291. And we understand the shared parking concept, but I was hoping we might be able to see what would it look like if you complied with the parking regs, if the applicant could comply.
Very well.
And that's all that I had for a request.
I'm good otherwise.
Likewise.
Very well. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will continue the public hearing for our May 18th meeting. And thank you, Ms. Shansky.
Thank you so much. Good evening.
All right, that is it for our agenda items for this evening. Let the record show, and somebody tell Ozzy we're done by 8.
Oh, damn, you run a good meeting. Move to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Kaplan. Is there a second?
I'm ready to second.
Okay, we're good. All those in favor of adjourning our meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you,
Have a
Bob.
great night.
Bye-bye.
Good night, guys.
Good night.